Hello and welcome to the BlytheRay Business News. Today we're joined by Jaco Prinsloo, CEO of Sylvania Platinum. Jaco, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Megan.
So you've recently released your full year results. Can you give us the highlights of these, please?
Yes, thanks you, Megan. This past financial year has been a bit of a difficult one from a PGM market pricing perspective, but I'm nevertheless very happy with the performance and our sustained efforts during the year. First of all, from a production perspective, we managed to produce 72,704 ounces, which was slightly below our guidance for the year, but primarily due to the impact post the wage-related strike we've had earlier in the year at our Western operations. Fortunately, we've been able to sustain our plant throughputs, and the plants have recovered to or are back to normal operation. But it did have an impact on the year. Additionally, we also had some lower grade and recovery potential at our Lannex operation, but with the commissioning of the Lannex fine chrome circuit and MF2 is now finally completed during the past financial year, we're also on track to perform there. And then finally, from a production point of view, I'm very glad that we've made good progress on the Tava JV, which is still in the project phase, but aim to get into production next year. From a financial perspective, we delivered a full year revenue of about $81.7 million for the full year, a EBITDA of about $13.5 million, and then resulted in a final net profit of about $7 million. And that's despite a 36% drop in the PGM basket price. So, under the circumstances, I'm happy with the performance. I think also more important is that given the positive financial performance and combined with our strong cash balance, we've been in a fortunate position to continue delivering value to our shareholders. And we have just announced a final dividend for the financial year of 1 pence per ordinary share. And that alongside the 1 pence dividend declared with our interim results earlier in the year, as well as the special dividend related to the early settlement of the Grass Valley sale proceeds, brings us to a full year dividend of about 3 pence for the year. I think it's also important to note that whilst it's lower than the previous year, it is significantly higher than the minimum required payout as per our dividend policy in terms of our free cash flow. So I think that shows our commitment to returning value to our shareholders, that we have been able to still pay out a good dividend, and also, in addition to the share buybacks we did during the year. I think finally, from an ESG perspective, I'm very proud about Sylvania's sector-leading performance in especially health and safety. Our Doornbos operation have managed to achieve 12 years without a lost time injury, an additional achievement of now being 3 years all injury-free, which is a really remarkable achievement. While we had 2 LTIs, lost time injuries at Mooinooi and Tweefontein respectively, we haven't had any significant environmental or health incidents, and we've managed to maintain our status of being fatality-free across all our operations since inception in 2006. So overall, a good ESG performance and a robust financial and production performance as well.
Great, thank you. And as you alluded to, it's been a tough year for PGM producers. How has your strategy meant that you'll still be able to be cash generative?
Yes, look, the PGM pricing environment and the challenge is not unique to Sylvania, and we're not exclusively exposed to it. Many of the producers currently in the industry are faced with some difficulties and experiencing challenges. However, with our good low cost, low risk strategy, we've managed to still maintain our production profiles and also the projects that we want to do. I think with us being at the bottom, on the lowest third of the PGM industry cost curve, we still, even in these lower price environments, remain profitable and generate cash that enables us to continue investing in our growth projects like the Tava JV, to maintain our capital expansion projects, and also to continue returning value to our shareholders. So our strategy pretty much is focusing on the items we can control, that's under our control, keeping our production stable, diligent operating cost and capital cost allocations, so that we can still prioritize shareholder returns in a very difficult price environment. And I think also looking at where we are with our production plans, I'm very confident that we should be able to achieve a production guidance of between 73 and 76,000 ounces for the year, which would put us in a position to achieve our objectives.
Great, thank you. You mentioned growth projects and the Tava JV. Can you provide a bit more detail on how that's going?
Yes. The Thaba JV, obviously a very strategic project from us. It brings in a very important diversified revenue stream, where we in our current Sylvania dump operations only have a PGM revenue. In the Thaba JV, we will have additional chrome revenue, and especially we give us the opportunity to capitalize from a very positive chrome market at the moment. So while there's only a small contribution coming through in 2025, as we only commence commissioning in the second half of this financial year, our full year proceeds from Thaba and the contribution would equate to about 9% improvement in our PGM production and an additional 210,000 tonnes of chrome product a year, which significantly boosts our revenue stream for the project. So overall, I think very good project and well on track in terms of all work streams to be commissioned in the second half of the next financial year.
Great, thank you. And what about your exploration projects?
So in our exploration projects, we continue with various studies to optimize our understanding of the resources and to identify for us where are the best options to extract value from those. In terms of Volspruit in particular, which is our southern project on the northern limb of the Bushveld complex, we have just released post results, but in August, a updated scoping study with a significant improvement in our NPV from the 2022 studies when we had it previously, where we now included the south ore body as well as revenue contributions from rhodium and ruthenium that were previously not included in the project because of the resource status. But we have about 150% improvement in the NPV to, I think, $63 million NPV for the project. The scoping study did identify some further opportunities for improvement, which entails a upgrading of the run-of-mine feed as well as further recovery improvement on the metals. So we are currently busy finishing those off, and that will guide us how to further proceed with the Volspruit project. In terms of Aurora, where we've only declared a mineral resource estimate on a portion of the resource, I think about 12% of the overall strike length in 2022, we have focused our efforts during this past year and also now in the year ahead of us on creating a better understanding of continuity across the entire strike length for Aurora. And we have gravity surveys scheduled for this year, as well as metallurgical test work that will again guide us in terms of the strategy there. Hakra project, which is a deep level resource to the north of Aurora, we have declared a exploration target in August, and I think given the deeper level nature and risk profile of that project compared to Aurora and Volspruit that's shallower, we are going to focus our efforts on those, and I believe this could be an attractive project for a third party to explore, and we would look at ways to what's the best ways to dispose of potentially the project. And finally, just Grass Valley, which we've sold already 2 years ago, is just mentioned earlier. We've negotiated the earlier settlement of the loan, and we have distributed the proceeds, or part of the proceeds of that loan, to our shareholders during the year in the amount of about $3.3 million. Yeah, so that is the total portfolio of our projects.
Great, thank you. That's a really good overview. What can we expect for the next financial year?
Yes, I think it's important that we focus on strong production. Again, the areas that we are able to control, and we're going to target 73 to 76,000 ounces, and our operations as well geared to do that. I think secondly, it's very important that we focus on our Thaba JV, that to bring that into production. It's scheduled to start commissioning later in the second half of the financial year, and as I mentioned earlier, significant upside potential for the company. We'll continue with a modest spend on our exploration projects just to proceed the studies that I've already mentioned earlier, And then finally, we continue to look for similar projects to the Tava project where there is that contribution from both PGMs and chrome to diversify our revenue streams and to leverage our existing skills and experience and track record in Sylvania. So that's what you can look forward to in the next financial year.
Great, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Jaco Prinsloo, CEO of Sylvania Platinum, on the BlytheRay Business News.